Thank you. Thank you very much. We may be seated. Thank you. Um, Dev, you know, as you were articulating your passion and conviction on why you think we are the best foot forward for Zimbabwe, I was almost persuaded to vote for this presidential candidate. But thank you for your kindness, Dev, and thank you for that very polite rendition of what you think we have to offer to the people of Zimbabwe. One thing you forgot to say is that we are authentic. We are genuine about what we are putting on the table. We are not the most perfect, we are not the best, we are not the finest, we are not the smartest, but we are the most sincere. And our sincere offer to the people of Zimbabwe is that if you give us, and when you give us the chance to make a difference, you will not be disappointed. Thank you, Bulawayo. There is a reason why we have chosen Bulawayo. Bulawayo Umhle, you are the next big deal for this great nation. We want to prove to the world that not everything is defined in one city. We are bigger with all the cities being given all the necessary commitment, respect, honor, and recognition. And we know the City of Kings, as I greet the kings here present, and of course the queens. I'm always inclined to the queens, but even the kings have to be respected. Our business people here present who have been invited, our senior citizens, political leaders from other political parties. I know that ZAPU is in particular invited. We also have our change champions from the citizens movement, our pastors, ministers of the cloth. We acknowledge you, members of the civil society, members of the press, our candidates. You know, we are also celebrating to thank God. The enemy wanted to deprive the people of Bulawayo of choosing their own candidates. But by God's providence, Bulawayo will be able to choose their own candidate. Thank God. We appreciate a lot. You won't believe the number of rallies I have been addressing. So pardon me if my voice disappoints. It's because their voice has already gone into the countryside. And the people are convinced. And the people are clear. You go to Bulilima, you go to Mangwe, you go to Matobo, you go to Bedbridge, the people are clear. They want change for their country. Are you ready for change? Yes. Are you ready for a new great Zimbabwe? Yes. Are you ready for a new leadership? Yes. Are you ready for new values? Yes. Are you ready for a government for everyone? Yes. Thank you, Bulawayo. This is what has occasioned this meeting. We are launching our blueprint. Our blueprint is a humble submission of what we are going to put on the table. When, not if. When elected. It's a couple of weeks before the election. Our opponents are in 6s and 7s. They are so scared. They've resorted to desperate tactics, violence. Why? Because they know that we are grounded. And why are we grounded? We know we have the support of the citizens. Why are we grounded? We know that our God is on our side. Now this morning I had a wonderful revelation. I was being asked, Why do you think that the Americans, even when they fall, they don't fall? He said, I don't know. I was told they knew who to take good contracts with. Their foundation is solid. They may not succeed in all the circumstances, but they will not fall. Because there is a contract with the Maker. May your nation, as it is being rebirthed, have a contract with the Maker. I will not disclose who are saying that. But we have to understand that the Maker has to be back in Zimbabwe. We need the Maker to be the foundation of our government, the foundation of our economy, the foundation of our relations, the foundation of our regions. When God is at the center, we'll be giant in everything. When God is at the center, we will be able to restore this country to be a great country once again. When God is at the center, you will be able to have great leaders in Egypt. When God is at the center, you will see what will happen to our agriculture. When God is at the center, you will see what will happen to racial relations. We'll be one again. It will be a government and a nation for everyone. And I want to thank you, Mulawa Umshe. Thank you for welcoming us and allowing us to have this very special blueprint. As you can see, it's a detailed blueprint. This is the document. You are going to have your own document. A humble submission of what we commit to deliver. We commit to deliver a new republic, a citizens' republic. A citizens' republic based on citizens' values and citizens' sovereignty. As a citizen, you are supposed to be restored to your rights, to your dignity. You are supposed to be restored to your freedom. You are supposed to be restored to your fundamental respect. One of the biggest things that we have lost as a people is respect. There is no respect for the citizen. Nobody apologizes to the citizens. Nobody comes to you to give you the honor that you deserve. We think that those in politics are the bosses. No, the bosses are the citizens. And we must take back this country back to the hands of the citizens. But the citizens have a boss. God Jehovah is the ultimate boss. So that foundational issue is important. We have to understand that the foundation of our nation is God at the center and citizens at the center. Citizens first. We call it citizenocracy, which is a class or a type of government where the citizen is at the center, where the citizen defines lawmaking, defines legislation, defines where we have come from. And I want to acknowledge our war veterans. I've just seen Mr. Magwizi there, one of our luminary war veterans. We acknowledge you, our war liberators. We are very humble to see you and to acknowledge you and the team that you have. We honor you. So yes, the citizen movement's philosophy places God at the center, citizens at the center, for the flourishing of happiness, freedom, peace, unity, justice, prosperity, as values that undergird and guide and inspire our government plans, our government policies, our practices, and our laws of the land. We shall blossom as a nation, we shall flourish as a nation on the basis of honoring life, liberty, dignity, security, diversity, and prosperity of each and every citizen. And I must say, we have an inspiring vision that will make Zimbabwe great, that will transform this nation into a jewel, not just of the continent, but of the world. We will lead and build Zimbabwe. We will go beyond and restore our breadbasket status. Remember that we're number one. Remember that we're a winning nation. Remember that we're a strong nation. We are going to move from being a basket case to restoring our breadbasket status as a nation. Yes, We will make our country beautiful again. We will make our country more secure, more inclusive, more prosperous, more victorious, and more glorious. Every Zimbabwean shall be proud to be called a Zimbabwean. It shall be a badge of honor and a source of pride to be from Zimbabwe. You shall earn awards and accolades by merely being a person from Zimbabwe. We are a great people, a good people. Let us celebrate our greatness and share our greatness with the world. That is only possible. It begins with redefining the leadership. And this is why we are putting on the table and forward our humble submission of what will turn what appears to be an intractable and impossible situation into an inevitable possibilities situation. What appears to be unobtainable dreams into what is going to be tangible and lived realities of what our daily lives must be built around. Being inclusive, being prosperous, being great, and being new. I must assure you, fellow citizens, that with speed we will restore dignity, hope, and happiness. With urgency, we will reconstruct and rebuild our great country. With excellence, we are going to modernize systems, services, and facilities. With brilliance, we will transform culture, structure, and infrastructure. With love and respect, we will reconcile. We will heal our wounds. The wounds of Bukura wounds, the wounds of Murambatsvina, the wounds of intolerance, the wounds of fights and political violence, short sleeve, long sleeve. All those wounds are going to be healed so that we become a great nation once again. A nation forever. Yes, justice will be served. Every debt will be paid. We are not going to ask for debt forgiveness. We are too rich to be a basket case and a charity case. We will pay back all our debts because it's honorable before God and before men to honor your debts. We will pay back. And we are not going to ask for debt forgiveness. We are simply going to have a restructuring of our debt and honoring our debt. Yes, all mistakes that were made will be corrected. Errors will be reversed. Wounds will be healed. We will connect our great country. We will make Zimbabwe a safe place for everyone. We will make sure power is restored so that you are powered as a people. We will connect every Zimbabwean. We will transport you safely. In fact, from Harare to Ulawa, you don't need 3 hours. You don't need 4 hours. You need an hour. The bullet trains are coming. We are going to restore the necessary macroeconomic conditions to make sure that success is restored to our country. We are not going to be open for business, because when you are open for business, you are also open for looting. We are going to be best for business. We are going to be best for commerce. We are going to be best for every citizen, for everyone. We will, with immediacy, take decisive steps, disruptive actions to stop the hemorrhaging of the economy, stop the suffering of our people, stop the drain of our brains, stop the resourcing of our great resources being leaked into other hands that are not known. We will invite investors, not dealers. We will set significant milestones and benchmarks of deliverables, programs and policies to usher a new great Zimbabwe for everyone. We know that once we have done this, this message is going to connect not only with all citizens, but with all investors, with all friends, with the international community, to invite them to make sure that 2023 is a turning point, is a change moment representing the best chance for our country, the best chance for everyone, to reset our country and to take back our country on that default setting, a moment, a mojo of success, a mojo of prosperity, a mojo of opportunities for everyone, a new direction in our fresh politics for the nation, where everyone matters, where everyone counts, where everyone must be given a chance and be listened to. And to show the gesture of everyone being involved, this is why we have said we will not launch
our blueprint in Harare. We can't Hararerize everything. Let's de-Hararerize. Let's de-Hararerize government and make sure that we de-Hararerize everything. Policies, programs must be for everyone. Starting with Bulawayo, you are the head. They have not seen this blueprint. They have not heard about this blueprint. It is being launched direct, live and direct, not delayed, from the city of Kings. As we have stated, it is not about anything but about leadership. And leadership starts everything, ends everything. It is about leadership and it is about integrity. It is about change. It is about hope. So this election for us is not about individuals. It is about choices of whether we want to take the nation to the future or want to take it backwards. And there are candidates who are representing the past, and there are candidates who are representing the future. You are glad to be informed that the candidates who represent the future is here. The one who represents the past is not here. So without doubt, we want to fulfill the liberation promise and not negate it. There are those who say Mr. Chamisa, as a presidential candidate, wants to reverse the gains of the struggle. In fact, I want to entrench them because they are in reverse gear as we speak. They are not title deeds for our people. We want our people to have title. That is reverse gear. People knew that when we went to the liberation struggle, it was about Ubuntu, one man, one vote. People don't understand the meaning of that vote. We want to restore the independence of our people, moving away from flag independence to real independence. Independence must be felt around your family, within your family, in your life, in your pocket, in your bank account, at the school that your child is going. That is where independence is. We want to reconnect with the ideals and the values of the liberation struggle. So Mr. Chamisa is there, carrying the great dream of Joshua Nkomo, carrying the dream of great Lookout Masuku, carrying the dream of great people like Reconstruction. That is the dream I'm here as a humble young man, but I know that I'm carrying an ancient dream of Navaling Stole. The dream that was advanced by Jason Ziapapa Moyo. That is the dream I carry. And that dream is a good dream for people of Zimbabwe. It was a dream of happiness, a dream of hope. And I know that you may not want to give us a chance, but give us a chance to change this country. You will not be disappointed. And I can tell you that people in ZANU-PF, we are your best chance. This is your best deal since 1980. To remind you of what you have desired and what you want. We represent a government for everyone. We represent a leadership for everyone. Of course we know we will encounter obstacles and challenges. But no weapon fashioned against us shall prosper. This is why we have been standing against all odds. I saw my brother Douglas is pulled out of the race. It's a tough game. It's not easy. Yes, we agree with him. There are challenges. There are problems. But the best way to win is not to quit. The best way to win is to fight unto victory. And we have said to the people of Zimbabwe, count on us to fight unto victory. We will fight them in the courts, we will fight them in the streets, we will fight them in the ballot box, we will fight them at the ballot. And we know that ultimately our God is going to stand with us. So yes, we are ready. We have programs, we have projects to transform our country and move it in a different direction. The time is now. Change is upon us. Change is coming. Look at the time. The time is now. It's time for everyone. This is the time. This year, we are going to make it. I can tell you, our opponents know it. That's why they are responding using violence. That's why they are responding, saying, Mkomana hapindi, ujaya kangeni, ujaya uzangeni. Uzangena ngenkani ngenkinga. So yes, ours is a call to the people of Zimbabwe. One people, one nation, one vision. We are saying we are one people together. Sivantu vanye, simunye, sonke sizanqoba ndawonye, sonke sizasebenza ndawonye. We want everyone to understand that this country belongs to us together. This is our humble submission. As I humbly say to you, we have this new Zimbabwe blueprint, the new Great Zimbabwe blueprint. It has 5 canons, and I'm going to go into those canons in a summary. I will not go into the entire book. You get your copy. Those of you who came here, you must get your copy. Of course, the document is going to be distributed to all and sundry. But we want you to understand that there are 5 fundamental canons that are underpinning our new Great Zimbabwe blueprint, which is our plan for a new great country. Number 1 is the issue of restoration. We are emphasizing that as a philosophical guideline, we have to make sure that we recalibrate, re-energize, reposition, rediscover, and revive our country. But to revive our country for greatness, we must be able to look at what we have lost and that which we have to restore. Number 1, we have to restore faith in God and worship our God. I know some of you may differ. Yes, we will not do away with freedom of worship, but we as a people must together know that we worship our God. We honor our God. We love our God. So we have to restore faith and worship. If you are to be great in anything, be great in your worship. Be great in your worship. When we worship God great, our country is going to be great. One of the reasons why this nation has not made significant gains is because those who are in authority are worshiping darkness. We must worship light. God is the source of light. We must follow light and not follow darkness. Number 2, we must restore confidence and trust in God. People must learn to trust and believe in their government. How do they trust government? Government must be trustable. You can't be trusted if you are not trustable. Government wants to be loved, but they're not lovable. To be lovable, you must love the citizens. We want a government that loves the citizens. When we make errors and correct errors, when we make mistakes, we must come and apologize. When there's no water, we must apologize. When there's no electricity, we must apologize. Not to come and say, "Tinokudashura, tinokurakasha." That is not the language of the new Trust in God. We want to restore trust in government. What collapses before a currency collapses is trust in leadership. When people trust in leadership, that's why in the United States of America they say in God we trust. Because everything is about trust. When people trust their government, they are prepared to use even tissue as paper money because they trust their government. And that tissue will be a strong currency. But when people have no trust in a government, the currency will be what it is today. It will actually inoramba because there is no trust in government. We want to restore trust and confidence in leadership, in MPs, in the councillors. Councillors must also behave in a manner that restores that trust. Not to go into council, you start looting stands, you don't go back to residents, you don't report back to the citizens. That trust must be restored. One of our key issues we must restore is to restore the trust and confidence in government. We need to restore the trust in the rights and freedoms of the citizens. You must be free to demonstrate. And when you demonstrate, you must not end up in prison. When you demonstrate, you must not be like Mutwakas, MRP. They now ban bars for simply demonstrating. You must not be like Job Sikala, representing a mere murdered, child of Zimbabwe, Blessing Ali, He is in prison. We must restore fundamental rights and freedoms. This is the president who is going to give you back. We need to restore dignity and hope. Zimbabweans have ceased and stopped hoping. If you want to see the evidence of our lack of hope, go to the passport office. Every day, there are people who are thinking of leaving their own country. As we speak, 6 million, 5 million people and above are in the diaspora. It tells you that hope has been lost. But look, we are looking at a symbol of hope. Trust us, vote for us, then we restore the hope. You will be hopeful again. We will be able to give you that hope that you wake up every morning and say, it's going to be a great day. Right now in Zimbabwe, when you wake up every day, it's going to be a worse off day. Even government never disappoints. Every day they have a new law. They disappoint in terms of doing better. They will never fail you in terms of worsening things. When you think that they fail even more. They always bring a new law. We need to restore a new hope and a new dignity. The rule of law. We need the restoration of the rule of law. Nobody must be terrorized by government. The government must not be a bully. The government must be a keeper. The government must be a protector, not a violator. Right now, the government is a chief violator. We need to restore a government so that there's a chief protector of your rights. Amen. When there is no protection of your rights, there's no sanity, there's no security. We need the restoration of order, law, and discipline. There's too much anarchy. But anarchy starts at the top. When the president is an anarchist, the whole nation is full of anarchy. When the president is full of disorder, there is no order across the whole country. May you trust this president for order, for discipline, and for the rule of law. The restoration of institutions, big ideas, and not big men. We don't want a nation where we're big men. I've said to colleagues, don't praise me. You can cheer me on, but don't praise me. Because this is what brought Mugabe. This is what brought Mnangagwa. We can't have a country where we celebrate an individual. There's only one God. All of us are human. All of us are human beings. Let's be all under God and respect that we need to restore the integrity of each and every individual. No one is above others. The work ethic. Zimbabweans have stopped working because there's no merit in working. There's no profit in working. We want to restore that work ethic. People must work. Under our government, we're not going to close industry at 4 o'clock. There are going to be shifts. 8 to 4, one shift. 4 to midnight, another shift. Midnight to morning, another shift. That way we create jobs. That way we are not sleeping. The world is waiting for us. Let's work and produce. Let's make products. Let's not sleep. Under this government, you are not going to sleep. Of course, we are going to respect the Sabbath. You need to rest. You need to take a rest one day. But all the other days, let's be on our way. Let's work. Let's do. Restoration of fair reward for hard work and for sweat. We must eat what we kill. We must earn an honest living. People must not do we can't be a nation of asifuni ukumusa isimeneme. Sifuna ukumusa uqondile. Sifuna ayisibuse uqondile. Sifuna iqiniso. Sifuna abakhokheli bayahlonipha ama-citizens. That is what we are going to restore. You trust this president? Restoration of fair remuneration, fair reward in return on investment. Restoration of standards and ethics. Right now there are no standards. We need standards on infrastructure, standards on government, standards on even the representatives of leadership. Restoration. I'm still on the restoration canon. It's just what we need to restore. So you trust this president, we'll be able, together with the citizen government, restore ourselves in sanctity and dignity as a people. Number 2 is the reconstruction canon. Now on reconstruction, what are we going to reconstruct? We have to develop an infrastructure master plan. Everything has fallen and collapsed. We need to bring back infrastructure. I call them lines of civilization, lines of power, lines of electricity, lines of communication, lines of water, lines of housing, lines of ablution. We need these lines of civilization in the rural areas, in the urban areas. We need to make sure that we don't have boreholes in the urban areas. It's a sign and a symbol of collapse and failure. Boreholes must not even be in the rural areas. In the rural areas, you must have solar-powered systems, having constructed proper dams, so that people have piped water. Boreholes are a sign of a government that is retarded. It's an analog government. You need a digital government. Let's go for the digital government so that we're able to do reconstruction. Let's construct those lines of civilization. Let's rebuild our industries. Bulawayo was known as Into to Seattle, a city that is smoke because of the factory. Where all these factories, NRZ was almost like the hub of the entire region. Not the region as in terms of the material, the region in terms of SADA. It's a pillar of logistics. We want to restore Bulawayo to be the region of the regions. We want to restore Bulawayo to be the center of all the logistics. That's why we have said in a new great Zimbabwe, Bulawayo has to be restored as the industrial capital of our land. Industries must begin to work again. Rebuilding industries, new factories, boosting ventures, inviting entrepreneurs, being able to be best for business. Number 3 is the modernization canon, the wealth creation canon. We are known for just being employees. We must create wealth. One of our key strategic objectives in a new government is to create billionaires and billionaires. That is how development is done. Lee Kuan Yew developed Singapore. Mahathir developed Malaysia on account of a battalion of entrepreneurs. We want to raise and bud, blooming flowers of entrepreneurs. Look at Staff Masiwa. Where is he? Out of the country. Why is he out of the country? This country could not accommodate him. Why? Because we don't accommodate ingenuity. We don't accommodate entrepreneurial skills. We don't accommodate creative thinking. This government is going to produce more entrepreneurs. If you want more Staff Masiwas, try this government. The citizens' government. Number 4 is the transformation canon. But more important than the modernization canon, we want to modernize state institutions. We want to modernize even institutions within the private sector. Our organs, our sectors, our services, our systems, all need modernization. So our first 3 years, we'll be modernizing. We don't want just to modernize the president. We want to modernize the president. Beyond modernizing an individual, and I'm saying, please, let's modernize the president so that the president is not archaic. The president is not analog. The president is digital. Let's modernize the president so that leadership is not just about the one who is occupying the position. We want to devolve responsibilities. We want to decentralize. That's why we have said devolution is our new revolution. Under the citizen government, we want to make sure that the government of Matabeleland Bulawayo is equally the government of Mashonaland. Of course, we will do away with tribal connotations in terms of our taxonomy and classification of our regions. Number 4 is the transformation canon. We want transformation around the culture of doing business, the culture of government. We don't want a president who comes to tell you what he's going to do. The president must ask you what you want him to do for you. Citizen first, citizen at the center. A culture that puts the citizen at the center. Structure, infrastructure, strategy, and models must be reformed. Number 5, which is the last one, is the reconciliation canon. Do you know that we are a country but we are not a nation? When you are a country and not a nation, you will have people divided and being divided on party lines, on tribal lines, on racial lines. But when you are a nation, you have a one vision, one common nation, and you are able to be one people. May we be one people again. Right now we are divided. You go to soccer, people are divided. Of course we must support different teams. There's only one team that has to be supported, Highlanders. And other teams. That's diversity. We must understand that there's a distinction between diversity and division. We don't want division, we want diversity. When you are diverse, you make the garden beautiful. Because different colors get the glamour and the glitter of the garden. When we are different as a people, different political parties, one of the fundamental things we are going to put in place is to make sure that we reconstitute the role of the leader of opposition, not to treat the opposition as a pariah. Opposition is an alternative source of ideas. And the leader of the opposition, in this case is Mr. Mnangagwa, must be given a seat in parliament. Must be able to sit in parliament. Why? Because we are bringing a new culture that is premised on reconciliation. We are one people together. Sivandu vanye, sivela ndawonye, sihamba ndawonye, sivandu sonke. Sifuna ukuthi hayi umuntu ngowe umuntu ngo abantu. Umuntu So yes, Kukura Undi, Muramba Shina, they all require a sober approach. We need to say, as a people, let's have restorative justice, rehabilitative justice, restitutive justice, and not retributive justice. When we have restorative justice, we want to restore those who were anchored, those who have wounds. You don't say no, but we have sorted you. It must be bottom up. We must rope in the church, the clergy, the traditional leaders to build a community-based, citizen-based healing process. And of course, government is the aggressor. Government must apologize. And as a new leader, as a new president, I will apologize to the people of Machiavelli. I will apologize to all those who lost their loved ones, because I'm doing so on behalf of a country. There's the principle of succession. You are succeeding in error. You are succeeding in mistakes. You are succeeding in omissions. You are succeeding in commissions. So we are coming in not because I did it, but because we did it as a government. We aggressed and harassed our own people. That apology will come from government. We even harass each other in terms of politics. You are this political party, that political party. That is a thing of the past. All political parties are good. There are bad people in ZANU-PF, and many of them. But there are also few good people. Those few good people must be part of building this nation together, because Zimbabwe is full of diversity, and that diversity must be embraced. That is what makes this country great. You can't say, because this one is triple C, is yellow, I will not listen to them. You are ignoring talent. You are ignoring gift. You are ignoring skills. You are ignoring that ability that is going to unleash our country unto greatness. Fellow citizens, as I almost conclude, there is the issue of the 5 major points, or our 5-point plan, with what we call the 5-point plan. The new Great Zimbabwe Plan is canons, which are the philosophical underpinnings, but it has 5 critical points that we are going to be focusing. Number 1 is the issue of making Zimbabwe great and a winning nation, as a point plan. Point plan number 2 is governance and building a transformative consensus state. Our state is going to be bringing people together. That's why we are saying we are for everyone. We are for everyone. We are also going to build an entrepreneurial and productive economy, a shared inclusive economy for everyone. That's our point plan number 3. Number 4 is social justice and social services for everyone. Number 5 is nation building. We must emphasize on building a nation. Now, a nation is built on the basis of citizen rights, a bundle of privileges. Do you know that you must have what you call privileges? When you are in America, you get a green card if you are an American. Why? Because there are privileges associated with being an American. In this country, there must be something special about being a Zimbabwean. And by being a Zimbabwean, it's not about skin color. It is about the content of your character. It is about the substance of your orientation. Are you a Zimbabwean in your heart? Are you a Zimbabwean in your mind? White, black, brown, yellow. You are a Zimbabwean on the basis of what you subscribe to. A country called Zimbabwe. We are one people, one nation, one vision. What are we going to do on the 5-point plan of the new Great Zimbabwe as we unveil it? I'll not go into the details, such a long book, but for all of you, you are going to see. We've done a lot of work consulting new citizens on what should be there, and of course, revelation and inspiration. The first thing we have to do to make Zimbabwe a winning nation and a leadership nation is to reposition it back into the family of nations. What are we going to do? Let's go back to the Commonwealth. Let's go back to be a happy and a civilized member of the United Nations. Let's go back into multilateralism. I saw my brother Mnangagwa when he went to Russia. He was saying, I support President Putin. We don't support a side. We support the side of peace. We are going to build multilateralism as a way of resolving disputes across the whole world. We'll invest in peace. We'll invest in supporting those who support peace. We will not take a side, especially if this is a side of aggression. Making Zimbabwe back into the family of nations. But to be able to do that, we must also be able to tick all the boxes on human rights, on good governance, on respecting our own citizens, on making sure that we are a God-loving, God-honoring nation. We honor our God by not killing each other, by not hating each other, by not dividing each other. When we honor our God, you don't hate another. You know that diversity is a gift from God. We are all diverse because God created us diverse. In fact, I would say God is the greatest artist. You will never find an artist who is able to create people so in billions, but so different. Let's celebrate the diversity of our great artist, our God created artist. We don't end there. We want to make Zimbabwe a winning nation in agriculture. Zimbabwe is made in agriculture. We want to restore agriculture in Zimbabwe, but to be able to do that, we must restore title deeds. There is no majority rule without majority title deeds. Title deeds are not going to be a marker if we have not recalibrated our independence. Independence is about title deeds. Without title deeds, you are not independent. We want every citizen to have a title deed of where they are. But to be able to do that, we have to make sure that agriculture is booming and agriculture is back on its feet. Farming technologies, precision agriculture, not digawujke, not command agriculture, not this kind of agriculture that Mnangagwa is preaching, not presidential inputs. Smith did very well without giving inputs, but there was a conducive environment for people to do business in agriculture. We want to be a leader in modern agriculture once again, so that we are a bread basket in Zimbabwe. We restore our status. We are going to be better than Switzerland. We are going to be better than any other country you have known of. Ukraine was basically the farm of the whole world. We can be that better farm for the whole world with a better leadership. Are you ready for this new government? Making Zimbabwe known for producing and making, not to be a consuming country. We want to know that this is made in Malawi. You know, we have Madura made in Malawi. We have the nicest beef made in Malawi. We need to make Zimbabwe. We need to make sure that we are a producing country. We have to restore our status as a producing country. We have to make sure that we are a global leader in education. We are an education nation. Do you know that we have educated so many people, professors, though I doubt some of our professors, but many of them have done very well across the whole world. I mean the political professors. But the academic and intellectual professors, they've done very well. And we salute them, they've done very, very well. We need to be a model country around governance and leadership. Zimbabwe must be known for good governance. Not what we are right now. Whenever people talk about stolen elections, Zimbabwe. When people talk about a divided country, Zimbabwe. When people talk about political violence, Zimbabwe. We must, when people talk about a model of good governance, multiracialism, unity in diversity, Zimbabwe. We need to restore our country as a model country for good governance and democracy. We will have elections, people will not be beaten up for voting the president out. It must be glorious for you to actually be shown your way out. Because, staying there is laborious. It's glorious out there. But somebody thinks that once they are president, they must not leave. They must remain there. Please, citizens, try and trust this president. He will leave when you have said it's time up. Zimbabwe must be known for best business and good investment. No investor will lose their investment in this country. Property rights will be guaranteed and secure. That's making Zimbabwe a tourism destination. That's item number 1, which is to make Zimbabwe great. To make Zimbabwe great. To make Zimbabwe great. One people, one nation, one vision. So our plan is very clear in terms of that point 1 agenda. We want to make sure that we bring Zimbabwe back on its feet. Number 2, point number 2 of the 5-point plan is the economy. Do you know that in 1980, our Zimbabwean dollar was stronger than the US dollar? At 1:1.5. We want to even double. The US dollar must be 1:2, with the Zimbabwean dollar having the sword. But we're not going to go there yet. We'll start by making sure that we resuscitate our economy. We'll use the US dollar as a currency of choice amongst the basket of currencies as we reconstitute confidence in business, predictability of policies, dealing with all these issues of policy consistency, dealing with ease of doing business, building confidence, recalibrating the role of the Reserve Bank, making sure that we restore confidence within business and also confidence amongst the citizens. So do you believe in our agenda to build an entrepreneurial economy, to build a rewarding economy? We want to make sure that whoever is in business has a fair return for their business. We want to make sure that whoever is doing business is able to come into business. That's item number 2. But within the economy, we are also emphasizing the issue of dealing with debt. The national debt is standing at about 18 billion. I've said we are going to repay our debt. That is a very strong statement. We have to repay our debt. But the debt has to be renegotiated so that we have the terms of that repayment. We have resources. Look at the illicit financial flows. Almost, you look at 1.8 billion, 1.2 in gold, 1.2 billion, 600 million, almost in other minerals. You look at the parastatals and ministries, 1 billion corruption. If you save that 2.8 billion, within 6 years, you would have been able to deal with the issue of paying your debt. So this is how we are going to deal with our debt. We will have to renegotiate with those creditors so that we are able to pay our debt. We need to be a country that is not surviving on debts. We have resources. There's no need for us to borrow beyond our capacity. We have resources, 60 minerals. We need to deal with that. That is on the economy. Dealing with the economy. We have to deal with entrepreneurship and the rewarding entrepreneurship. But also under this, we are remembering the rural areas. We have introduced what we call Matura, which is the modernization agenda for the transformation and urbanization of rural areas. Matura is a program to make sure that rural areas are built back into stardom of productivity. Smith created what are called reserves because they were reserved for labor force. We need to move from the reserved mindset so that we are able to unleash the potential of our people in the rural areas. So the Matura program is going to be dealing with that. We'll have a tractor per village as a program to make sure that we move from ox-drawn, plowing into modern plowing. A tractor per village is possible. Look at ZANU-PF, they've bought over 2,500 cars. Stop buying those cars. Give a tractor per village and start to move. A hospital, Matura. Let's have a hospital per district. World-class hospital. Our people must not just think about Harare. Here, if you don't get treated at Impilo or the United Hospital, you think of going to Harare. We must have a world-class hospital here in Mulawa, so that people are treated here in Mulawa. People are sick here in Mulawa, not in Harare. That is part of our devolution agenda, but also part of making sure that under Matura program, every village must be modernized at hospital level. We have about 57, 58 rural district councils. Let's have a hospital per district. And of course, we can have other referral hospitals in Bulawayo, in the major capitals, but we need to correct the issue of dealing with the economy. I'll not go into the underlying assumptions because I don't want to pretend to be an economist with the issue of macroeconomic stability, but we need to also restore the savings culture. Our people are no longer saving because it doesn't help. When I grew up, we used to have this little book, my mother, the late mother, used to have a little book, a POSB book, and she would always tick and get some returns. We need to restore a savings culture. But also we need to restore a spending culture. People must be able to say, I'm going for holiday to Matopos, domestic tourism. But people can't do that if they don't have money. And if they don't, there are people who are in Bulawayo who have never been to Matopos. There are people who are in Bulawayo who have never been to a hotel. Why? Not because they don't want to see how a hotel is like in the village. I took my mother before she passed on to a hotel. She was so surprised. That's also the food here, I thought. And she's not the only one. Many people are in those circumstances. One time when I was MP, Honorable Court, I asked people in Kwazan, how many of you have boarded a plane? None. Of all the people in Kwazan, none. Yet in other countries, people use these planes as combis. That is where we want to take our country. Let's dream again. Let's hope again. Let's make a strong economy. Let's be a people again. Matura is a massive transformational program for the rural areas. We want to uplift our rural areas and bring them to stardom. Bring back the issue of beneficiation and value addition. And our government, no lithium is going to go out of this country unprocessed. And our government, no gold is going to be reported on Al Jazeera. There's not going to be any gold mafia. If anything, there's going to be a gold mafia, not a gold mafia. People who worship God and who respect God. Gold can't be wasted. We want to see our resources, the blessedness that we have been given by God in our hospitals, on our roads. Yes, we want to see this infrastructure development on the basis of what we've seen. I've said infrastructure is first. Seek ye first infrastructure. Everything follows. Once you fix infrastructure, you have fixed everything. Of course, don't forget to seek the kingdom of God. But all in government, we will seek first the infrastructure. Once we get right infrastructure, everything then follows. We need to get our infrastructure sorted. Bullet trains, spaghetti roads. These are doable things. These are doable. But try us. Do you trust this president? We want urban metro system here in Bulawayo. You must know that in 15 minutes there's going to be a metro that is going to come. In the next 30 minutes, if you miss this one, you wait for the next one. Not to live in a country where there's disorder. You don't know whether you are going or you are coming, but it starts with the president. And I assure you one thing, I will never put on a scarf when it is hot. Yes, this is a new government, a citizen's government. The Internet of Things, blockchain. We are going to introduce the fourth industrial revolution. We are going to do it. We did it in the inclusive government. Dr. Kupe, how we did with Mugabe. It was a difficult proposition, but we excelled. What more of a government where the leader is clear on where we are going? Within a short space of time, we will turn this country great.
2 days.
And that is, it's a matter of days, it's a matter of hours. Because it starts with the right signals. The signals of leadership, the signals of love, the signals of confidence. That is what is needed. And thank you, Jeff, for what you say. You can fault me, and I have many mistakes and many weaknesses as a leader. But genuineness is not one of the deficits. I'm genuine about saving this country. I'm genuine about making a difference in this country. That's on the economy, and you see many other things on the economy. We have not exhausted the things. The Sovereign Wealth Fund, the issues we are doing on mining, on education, how we are going to turn small enterprises, make them more profitable, all those things are there. In terms of the signature projects we are going to be running, they are also in that. So yes, we have number 3, which is point number 3 on governance. On governance, our government is not going to be that big. We want a government that is lean and mean, but a performing government. Not to have 52 ministers, but there's no evidence of the size of government. When the government is small and effective, functional, we are going to have results. We will have no more than 15 cabinet ministers. No more than 15 cabinet ministers. I know, Mr. Chibaya, sorry, you are disappointed. It's not about how we have been shouting at rallies. This is government. Government must be for the capable and competent. Government must be for the producing and productive. Government must be results oriented. If you are not producing results, we show you the door. No one individual is the last born. Even the president is not the last born. We will always have the next man and the next woman to serve the people of Zimbabwe with grace and with merit, on merit. So yes, on governance, our vision is to build a 21st century modern, transformational and responsible state that is capable, accountable, responsive and respectful to the citizens. But how are we going to do it? Number 1, we are going to have a national vision that is shared by all the people. So once we become government, and I'm not saying if, when we become government, we are coming back to you in the first 6 months to have a nationwide consultation on a shared national vision. We have a vision, but it's a party vision. We need a vision that involves all the Zimbabweans, including those in Zambia. We need a shared vision. And we need a vision sharing and a visioning program. At least we cannot share a journey, but let's share the destination. Let's share where we are going. Right now, we are not sharing a destination. Zambia think that the problem is sanctions. We genuinely believe that sanctions are a symptom. The problem is leadership. Once we tick the boxes of leadership, sanctions will go away. The next morning, I'm going to lift my phone and say, Mr. Biden, we have done the deal. Let's fix the country. Let's do business. Investors from America will come here because we've done our bit of the bargaining. We are able to have a leadership deficit resolution. That is what must be done to resolve issues. But it starts with vision sharing. We need to share the vision. Where do we want to take our country? What is the journey? You know, President Beck once said, a vision not shared by a community is not a vision. Equally, a dream that has not been shared by a community is not a dream. So we need to share a dream so that we are able to work together. We need to have a new constitution. As far as we are concerned, the document that is there is a good document, but it's not the best document. We need a people, citizen-driven constitution that reflects all our diversity. That one was a compromise document by the elites of this country, MDC then, and ZANU-PF. We need people to write their own constitution in an environment of consultation, freedom, and ability to say this is what we want for our country going forward. So a new constitution will come if you vote. Do you trust this president? Yes. We will resize and restructure our government. Devolution, as I said, is the next revolution. We are not going to have 10 provinces. We will have 5 regions. And this one is the southern region. We will have the central region. We will have the eastern region. We will have the western region and the northern region. We are done. And those regions must be run by governors. And those governors must have autonomy to also run their, so that the budgets are run locally. Local is legal. So I often laugh, fellow citizens. There are people who say, oh no, this was, they don't have a plan. Our plans are too much. If you give us an opportunity, you will see that this country will be turned around. We have good plans for this great land. Devolution is key for development. Devolution is key for democracy. We want people of Malawi to enjoy their resources here in Malawi. They also have to enjoy their diversities. There is always nations within a nation. Nations are tribes. Nations are races. These are nations within a nation. They must be celebrated. Devolution is our next revolution. We also established what is called a consultative transformational council, which is going to consist of all the labor unions, business, and also civil society and government to work and to make sure that we agree on certain measures that require a buy-in. Like I said, we need a consensus. We used to have a tripartite negotiating forum, the TNF, but we are coming with a transformational consensus council so that we are able to move together on these transformational measures we are going to put in place. We are also going to introduce e-procurement. We don't want people to steal money through procurement. And procurement is not going to be in the office of the president, as is currently the case. Procurement must be an independent, autonomous, digitally run procurement process so that every citizen is able to have access to the tenders that are in government. We don't want people in Harare to come and take tenders in Malawi. People in Malawi must also benefit from the tenders of government services and government contracts here in Malawi. This thing of having people from Harare, they come and occupy tenders, no more. Do you trust this president? Yes. We are also going to build a digital government. Electronic everything. E-lobola. You must pay. Because I know some will say we want hard cash, but we are going to modernize Rusambo so that you are able to pay Rusambo online. And as it is in the way Rusambo yes, ukangazi. Sifuna ukangazi siza pay online. Ukangaziwe. Yes, ukangaziwe. We have to pay online. That's modernizing systems. Please do not lose the essence of what I say. I want you to understand that we have to digitize our systems. From the beginning up to the end. When a child is born, we must already record. When they get 18, there's no need for people to queue to register as voters. You are automatically registered. Electronically. You are a registered voter. You receive a notification, Mr. Smith, Mr. Coulter, you are now a registered voter. May you enjoy your rights. Okay, that is where we are going. That is where we must be going. No, this thing, oh, my name is not in the row. Oh, my name has been removed. That's backward. Do you trust this president? Yes. We need to invest in modernizing systems. Social security number. When you are born, you already have a social security number. Activated when you then attain the legal age of majority. Driver's license, everything electronic. We know when you are at school. We know where you are good at. If you are not very gifted academically, you are not daft. You are just gifted otherwise. And you must focus on your otherwise and build your competencies there so that you are able to also benefit your nation in your skills. You know, Dave, when you're Minister of Education, that's part of what you must be dealing with on the curriculum. Nobody is daft. You are just differentially gifted. And that must be understood. That being an intellectual giant does not mean that you are a social giant. Others are giants elsewhere, where you are not a giant. But our education must speak to those peculiarities. And that also begins with a digital government. Do you trust this government? Yes. On the issue of museums and monuments, we must preserve our heritage as a country to make sure that we make our history, our sports, our music, our arts, a source of earning income. You know, there is this group here, very powerful. They've done very well internationally, you know, Imbonge Arts. And, Albert Nyatsi. He has done well very internationally. But we don't even celebrate him here. We think we are seeing a rat when we are looking at an elephant. He's a giant, but we must be able to elevate him. Create opportunities for him. He's not the only one. There's Konkangas, Amakos, and IASA. We must be able to build IASA to that level. That requires a government that is able to leverage on the competencies of our people. It starts with the government. That is the government we are promising. Do you trust this government? Yes. But in Parliament, we are not going to end there. We are going to revolutionize Parliament. Immediately when we become a government, there's going to be a special television channel for parliamentary debate. Yeah. So that you see what is debated in Parliament, because this is where your laws are being made. We'll have a television channel set aside for parliamentary debates. And also even television channels in communities for municipal debates in the chambers. So that people are brought closer to government, closer to lawmaking, closer to decision making. We will be able, in this government, to say in Parliament, we are going to have a president's question time at least once every 6 months. So that the president comes to answer pertinent, fundamental national questions. Not to have a president who is a visitor to a country. He spends most of his time on the plane. If he's not on the plane, he's drinking whiskey. We want a president. In our Parliament, we want to revolutionize Parliament. We are going to introduce the right of recall. If you are a member of Parliament, you are a councillor. If you don't perform, we look at the number of people who voted for you. If 2/3 write a petition, either to the Speaker or to the relevant chamber, to say our representative has gone ill, is a missing person, we will allow them to recall you and allow them to choose a new representative. We are also going to introduce a new system, a public barometer for all public offices and officers. If you are a minister, there's going to be a public barometer to rate you. For MPs to rate you. At the end of the year, you must be rated. How did you fare? You go to Parliament, you don't even cough or sneeze. But you still want to remain in Parliament. MPs must debate national issues and contribute and scrutinize government and bring government to account. We need accountability. The public barometer is coming. But also in Parliament, we are going to reserve 2 critical portfolio committees for the opposition, public accounts and foreign affairs, so that we are able to sharpen the scrutiny and oversight function of the alternative. We'll also introduce ICTs in the... And more importantly, we are going to have an official position of the leader of the opposition in Parliament. And I said, Mr. Mnangagwa, this is good news for you. You are not going to be retrenched. You have your seat in Parliament as the leader of opposition. I can assure you that we are going to make it in this government. We will be the next government, and Mr. Mnangagwa and his party are going to be the opposition. We will give them their seat. Opposition should not be treated as an enemy. Opposition is actually an alternative source of ideas. It's actually the other side of government. In a normal democracy, opposition is the other side of government. And we must allow to invite Mr. Mnangagwa to State House for ideas. Even if there's none, let us hear the one. The opposition leader, if I had another one, I was going to use the same example. I know that is the one who's going to be the opposition, because I think Zan is going to be the majority opposition from those who have registered to say. We would want to make sure that within Parliament, as a reform, we want a Parliament that is closer to the people, but we also want the official opposition leader to be invited officially to all the national functions. Not this business of saying national functions are reduced to a party affair. One of the things that we are going to promise you as a new government is to separate state from party. What is called, for political scientists, statocracy, state-party conflation. We are not going to allow state-party conflation. When we are in government, government is the common denominator. Your political party is a numerator. We don't want numerators in government. We want the denominator. We are all one people. ZANU-PF, you come. Triple C, you come. But if you have a party card, that's not your access to government services. Access to government services is because you are a citizen. Access to government services is because you deserve, either on a basis of age, on the basis of disability, on the basis of certain of the marginalization that you have suffered in the past. So we want to equalize. We want a government for everyone. That is our humble submission in the government that we are proposing. Of course, you will read for yourself. We are going to review the Central Intelligence Services. There's not going to be a police force. There's no force. It's a police services. There's no defense force. It's a defense services. There's no CIO, Central Intelligence Organization. There's a Central Intelligence Service. They will not pursue you. They will not be looking at you as, spying on you. They will spy on economic opportunities. What was done in Japan, turn your Central Intelligence Service into economic spies to make sure that you are competent and you are globally competitive as a government. So CIO, leave this thing of pursuing Chamisa. Pursue opportunities and challenges. So that we are ahead in most of the issues. Our military is going to be a source of honor and a badge of honor. They've said, no, he's going to remove. We are not going to play around with the rank and file. All we are going to try and change is the culture within the military. To know that our barracks are there to preserve our peace. We are not going to respect the bullet, but the ballot. But the ballot is there to preserve the sanctity. And the bullet must make sure that it protects the ballot, not to undermine it. So it's a philosophical thing. The army must be respected. We want our soldiers, but they must be in the barracks. When they're in the community, they are helping the community on account of disasters or other special facilities. We want to honor men in service. In fact, we are going to introduce what is called honor in retirement. Not just for service, serving men and women, but for everyone. Pensioners, we want you to retire peacefully and to be happy in retirement. Even members of parliament who have served, or councillors, when you have retired, we don't take away the title. You will still continue to be called honorable, but retired honorable. You will still be called alderman, but retired alderman. So that there is dignity for you. You are not asked, you are not embarrassing. We take the responsibility from you. David Coulter, they served as member of parliament. He must continue to be retired honorable Dave Coulter. Unless if you steal people's money, we will take back those money. I don't suspect, Dave, you can do this. Honor in retirement. Even for a serviceman. You look at people who are in the army. When they retire, they have nothing. People in the civil service, when they retire, they have nothing. They have nothing to show for it. We want retirement and honor in retirement. An arm of service approach. That's number 3. Number 4, social services, I conclude. Social services, the most important issue is education. And on education, we are going to work on the critical issue of revamping the curriculum. I've said to people, the color program has to go. Let's review the curriculum and have a new curriculum. What the people are happy about. We will come and ask you as experts, as parents, what do you want to see in the curriculum of your children? So that our education is founded on very strong pillars that will make the country move in industrialization, productivity, and success. Do you agree with that program?
Yes.
Do you agree with that program?
Yes.
Social services. We will also make sure that we deal with the issue of health. Of course, on primary education, we've already indicated grade 1 to 7. Let us have universal free primary education. We are also doing away with exam fees, by the way. There's no need for parents to pay exam fees. As in South Africa, no need for exam fees. We need to make sure that at least we come in to do what has to be done for our parents and we give them dignity. From 1 to 6, you have to come in and deal with the issues. We also have special programs for women. Women are suffering. There's no what is called women care program. Government must introduce women care programs. They are unique women challenges. Those challenges must be dealt with. Part of what we have to deal with are inheritance laws. Women are subjected to a lot of harassment. We are going to change inheritance laws. Nobody should suffer because they've had their partner having died. We must restore the dignity of women in marriage, even when there is bereavement. We must also deal with even the issue of divorce laws, marriage laws. We are going to deal with the issue of women care, but we don't also forget men. Men are also weak in certain areas. They must be taken care of. If you want to see how weak men are, just take away the woman. You will see that they are not very strong. Persons with disabilities, they need special care. One of the things we are going to do as government under the social services is to make it mandatory for all public buildings to have mechanisms that cater for persons with disabilities, for accessibility. You can't build a public building, whether private or public, if it is going to have access to public, the public. You have to make sure that there is facilities to cater for them. There's also going to be care for the aged. If you're 65 years and above, we must take care of you. Government is there for you in terms of service. That's what's happening in Europe. I know it's happening in Switzerland, which is my role model. It is possible. We have resources. Let's take care of our elderly. Let's take care of our children. No child marriages. Very strict on child marriages. No debate on child marriages. Asifuna abantu baya jamakanda. Why should you go for the eggs when the chickens are there? And the chickens are desperate for you. So yes, we want to be able to deal with children and protect them. Yes, we also want to restore the dignity of men and women in uniform. Our nurses, our teachers, those who work for government, dignity of our civil service. It must be the most prestigious thing to work for government. In fact, those who work for government are going to be the most and highly remunerated. So that we take competence away from private sector into government. Do you agree with this government? Of course, on the social services, we are also going to make sure that we honor our heroes. But our heroes are not going to be politicians only. Heroes are going to be we are going to have an independent body to confer hero status on the basis of known guidelines and set guidelines. It doesn't matter you are ZAPU, you are Triple C, you are a sportsman. If you qualify, you will be a hero. You may not necessarily be buried at the hero center, but we give you hero status. But we are not going to have heroes who are dead. Not only dead people are heroes. You must also be a hero in life. We celebrate you when you are still alive. That you are a hero. You have done so well. There are people who have done so well. You look at people here, musicians, icons. Love Moma Jaiva. I would say that is a hero. He has done a lot of, wonderful things. Let's give him his honor in life. Thomas Mafumo is in the diaspora, singing from there. Very, very angry with the situation. An icon of the liberation struggle. Casey Coventry. Yes, she's our minister now. But she's done very well for our country. She has put us on the world map. Let's give her the honors. I may not agree with her politically, but we must be able to honor each other in terms of the honors we have. Celebrating our heroes, celebrating our heroines in their life, and rolling out programs for our communities to celebrate our heroes. People in the rural areas are our heroes. They fought for the liberation of this country, but we have not honored them in terms of just infrastructure. That's why we have Matura to celebrate them. The health insurance care, there's going to be universal health care, at least for the primary health care. But for others, Of course, you will have to also pay, but we must have health insurance for every citizen, like in other countries. Citizen health care plan is coming. Last but not least is the issue of nation building. We need healing. We are a nation in turmoil. We need to heal. One of the first things we are going to embark upon is to heal the nation. But to heal the nation, what do we need to do? We need to make sure we institute that reconciliation program on the basis of erecting museums and memorials for our past records. Starting with Palagwe. Gukurahundi, we have had Gukurahundi here. The liberation struggle, we even need a liberation museum. Chronicling our history, recording our history, and the things that we have encountered. A bundle of citizen rights and privileges. We are going to introduce what is called a bundle of rights and privileges, so that you know that you have rights and privileges. When you open a business, you must not open a business like you are a foreigner. There are privileges you must have access to. When you are a citizen, you must not be removed from your ancestral lands because we have, identified or we discovered a resource there. You have rights. You can't be moved away. That is what I was saying about land rights. You have to be asked for permission by government. Chilonga is a case in point. Dinde is a case in point. Chisumbanji is a case in point. People should not be chased away from their rural areas on account of economic development. They must be compensated. There must be consultation. There must be consensus. That's part of the citizen rights. National pride must be restored. Not to say being a political party is patriotism. We will repeal all obnoxious pieces of legislation. All these things. Patriotism is best legislated in the hearts of the people. When people love their country because they know that the country is lovable. We are going to have a lovable country because of what the country is doing for you. That is what we must correct. This human rights thing, you want to violate people's rights. No, not in our government. This thing of introducing the Private Voluntary Organizations Act. No, we reprove that. The first thing we will do, the moment we get into government, is to send that bill out of law. Yes. Why? If you don't have social security nets and social safety nets, you don't need to retrench the role of the civil society. Because they are augmenting the support that is supposed to be given to citizens. If you are not able to support citizens as a government, why do you take out? Of course, in our government, we are actually going to be an aid-giving government. Help the Helpless is going to be part of the government programs. We will actually be donating to other countries. Zimbabwe is not a charity case. We are a donor nation. We can't be receiving from the UK or from the United States. We can actually donate to them and donate to others. Once we have resources, we have gold resources, we have platinum, we have lithium, 60 minerals. And we're not going to exploit all of them, only 5. The rest we preserve for future generations. That is where we are taking this country. Do you trust this government? Yes. We want to have a rights respecting government. Your rights, not Kutimuramba China. Kukurahundi. All those things. We are not going to be purchasing TSMO to come and disturb your peace. If you run rioters, we convince you to see the disadvantages of a riotous situation. Not to force you. This thing of force and using force against citizens is a thing of the past. This is our offer to you, fellow Zimbabweans. But not only are we going to do that, we are also going to show you, as you see in our document, we have things that we are going to do in the first 100 days. Let me have a copy. Let's have the copies distributed. While people are still seated. Thank you. This is our document. A blueprint out an alternative government for everyone. Ulawayo, Omshe, Matebele, this is your best chance for a voice and for freedom. Zimbabwe Chikele, this is your best chance to restore your country to a breadbasket status, to be a gold nation once more, to be a great nation once more. And I want to tell you that there are things that we are going to do in the first 100 days, things that are critical, what I would call the low-hanging fruits, things that we are going to immediately say, this we will introduce, and this we will do in the first 100 days. And can I give them to you? We have 20 things that we are going to give to you. Number one, release all political prisoners. MRT, Job Sikala, Ngari Fume, or any other person who has been arrested on the basis, just wait a bit. Who has been arrested, just wait a bit, Gaga, just wait a bit. Who has been arrested on the basis of politics. We will restore the dignity, rights, hope, and respect all the citizens. Number two, one of the things we are going to do is to restore the education system. Because education is the foundation of any society. One of which is to remove the color, curriculum, and dignity to the teachers. Number three, we are going to remove bond notes within the 100 years. So if you have bond notes, please get them ready. We are going to be sending lorries to come and fetch those bond notes, and we give you invested real money. Number four, universal free primary education. Number five, a stakeholder turnaround program to make sure that we consult you on the vision-making process and the time frames. Number six, free the airwaves so that we don't just have ZBC as the only TV. We want to have various television stations. Let there be choice. Yes, we'll have a state broadcaster, but let us also have public broadcasters. And there must be many. Number seven, we'll reintroduce executive mayors to make sure that there's accountability, there's also devolution, so that you are able to run cities effectively. No more interference by central government in the affairs of our local authorities. Number eight, depoliticize the state. I've already told you, no more Congonia dancing, no more chanting of slogans. You don't chant slogans in government. Once you do that, there's going to be what is called a creed of civil service. You assign to that, you are not going to play politics or chant slogans. Serve the people without fear or favor. No politics in the para-state house, no parties. Those people who are unwanted political, don't think that you will have a sanatorium in government. And I know there are many. When you are not chosen by the people, don't look at government as a dining room or a lounge where you come and lounge and dine. It's not a restaurant. Government is for service, not for eating. And those who think that it's time to eat, you are candidates for prison. We will arrest you. Those who have appetite, those who are going to be corrupt, there's not going to be any jobs. I was telling my brother Chibaya that you're pretending to say I need nice cars. You will not have any nice car. Government is not a place where you have nice cars. If you want a nice car, go to private sector. That is where people have nice cars. In government, people must have decent cars to do the work to serve the people. Number nine, we are going to these are big wins, low-hanging fruits. We are going to revisit the border paperwork. Those who are traveling cross-border, there's going to be an electronic clearance, pre-arrival at the border, you must be cleared. And of course, when I was in Bedbridge, they were complaining about the border there, and that they are being fleeced. That is going to be a thing of the past. We will review immediately within the first 100 days so that we deal with their issues. We will stop illicit financial flows and leakages, just to stop the bleeding we've saved 3 billion. Just to stop the bleed. We've saved 3 billion. We can take that 3 billion to education. We can take it to roads. Because you need almost 1 million per kilometer to have tarred roads. It's possible to then have BOT, triple P programs, as you see, to then have tarred roads across the whole country. There has to be tarred roads across the whole country. In fact, going to Harare, you must have 4 lanes. If you don't get 4 lanes, the government is not doing business. Not this business of a government just extending the shoulders of the road. Oh, look at what we have done. You have done nothing. We haven't started. Drug cartels. We are going to immediately crack down on drug mafia and drug cartels so that we save our young ones who are being subjected to Mtoriro and other things. The war on drugs. And of course, there's going to be a cessation of victimization on the basis of politics. And those who have been fired from government, civil service, army, police will review situation case by case so that you save your country patriotically without fear or favor. Title deeds for both urbanites and those who are in the resettled farm. New farmers, you must have title deeds. Of course, we will not have multiple farm ownership, but we will allow those who are on the farm to have title to those farms. Within the first 100 days, we would have started rationalizing, and of course, it's a continuous program. Massive infrastructure rehabilitation and a master plan of infrastructure. We will fix our broken politics by looking at political violence in its past. We will restore Zimbabwe as a family of nations, the debt resolution, the issue of fair prices to farmers. We want our farmers to have fair prices for their crops, tobacco, cotton. Business must come back to agriculture. Right now, agriculture is not a business. We must not have agriculture destroyed as business. Last but not least, we will repeal all oppressive legislation. You know them, we will repeal them. There is no need for us to debate on them. I want to thank you for your patience. May God bless them. Remain seated as I say to this. Give them the books now. We want the books now for everyone as we lift our books. We say, welcome to a citizen republic. Welcome to a new great Zimbabwe for everyone. Please go ahead. They're coming. Thank you so much. I'm sure you like this new program. Do you agree with the blueprint? Do you agree with the blueprint? Sorry, colleagues. Attention. Please, let us be orderly. I see especially the councillors there. You can't afford to behave like that. Let us be orderly. Let's start from this side. Thank you so much. So also I have good news for you, fellow citizens. Today, you go and check those who are not going to get the document. Go and check for the document. Sorry. Those who are distributing, stop distributing. Let me say, fellow citizens, I know your hunger for this document. It's your hunger for a new Zimbabwe. It's appreciated. You get your copy. Those of you who have come, you will get your copy. There's no need for you to scramble for things. That is the character of the old Zimbabwe. Here you get Zimbabwe, you don't scramble for things. Things are adequate, you get your copy. Mana, so yes, get the copy. Those who are at home, the copy is going to be online. Our website is functional. We have launched our website, CCC. I've said no distribution. I've said no distribution. Let's focus so that we have attention. You get your copy at the appropriate time so that there's order. I want to thank you. You can go onto our website. The document is going to be there. We are now officially launching the blueprint that is going to determine and shape the future of Zimbabwe.